Magnus Carlsen playing Frode Elsnes, another player from Norway. So Magnus is white again. One glance at the position tells us that white must be better here. White has three hyperactive pieces. The queen on e7, rook on e5, then the knight on d6, whereas black is passive. His knight on f6 is hanging. There's no interaction between his pieces, and on top of that, his queenside pawns are isolated and weak. On the other hand, the position is quite simplified, so only one rook, the queen, the rook, and one piece left. So black might have chances to survive here due to the reduced material. Black to play, he went knight d5, hitting white's queen on e7. And first question to you, where would you go with white's queen here? What do you think Magnus did with the queen on e7? Maybe a simple question, but there are some points to white's next move. Okay, what would you do with the queen on e7? This was Magnus's choice. The queen went back to h4, hitting the pawn on h6, obviously. So this goes with tempo, queen to h4. But black replied, queen to d8 now. Queen to d8, hitting the queen on h4 and also the knight on d6. And have you already seen Magnus's continuation after queen d8 in this position? Anyway, queen h4 is the good, very good first move, and this is what Magnus did, and this is what you did. After knight d5, Magnus retreated his queen. He went to h4, hitting this pawn on h6. And in the game now, black went queen d8. And we'll come to that afterwards. But first of all, I want to show you one line which I found very, very impressive indeed. Queen h4. Black could simply have protected this pawn on h6 by playing king h7. Very natural move. And now it's just a sample line, but it's quite instructive nevertheless. Knight to e8. Intending to maybe play knight f6, queen b8, only a sample line. Now white can play rook takes d5, rook takes d5. Now best for black is to take this knight on e8. Queen takes e8, rook d6, clear advantage to white, obviously more active heavy pieces, and black has only got weak pawns, obvious advantage, but I wanted to show you this line. Rook takes d5, pawn takes d5, now white goes knight f6, check, king g7, only move, after king h8, there's checkmate, queen takes h6, king g7, and now please find white's winning move in this position. Maybe it's not so difficult, but I think it's quite impressive still. White to play and win. What would you do now as white? Yep, queen d4. White centralizes the queen, and black has no defense whatsoever against the threatened discovered check by the knight f6. Queen d4, and this is a motive to remember, I think. Queen d4 is a very nice move. So in this position, after this long, not forced line, white wins with queen d4. The queen centralized, occupies the diagonal towards black's king on g7. There's no way for black to challenge, to attack this queen on d4 by, for example, I don't know. No, there's just no way. And this shows queen d4 is winning for white. Threats is knight d7 or knight h5 check, double check, followed by queen g7 checkmate. And this shows how strong a tandem queen and knight, attacking tandem, queen and knight can be. And we'll see, I think, one or two more games with exactly this theme, attacking tandem, queen and knight, later on. Okay, long variation. Queen h4, and black replied queen to d8. Queen to d8, and Magnus of course had foreseen this. Queen d8, which, well, attacks white's queen on h4, and of course also this knight on d6. And now you are to play again. What did Magnus do after queen d8? What do you think? Exactly. White can simply take on h6, and we will soon see why he can do this. Queen h6, Magnus's move, and you found that. Congratulations. So after queen d8 by black, aiming to trade the queens, Magnus simply took this pawn on h6, and I am pretty sure that black had just overlooked this. He went queen f6 now, which equals resignation. Queen f6, and now Magnus just returned his knight to c4, overprotecting this rook on e5, and white won quickly. Pawn up for nothing. But let's have a look at what would have happened if, after queen takes h6, black would have taken this knight on d6. Please show Magnus's point. What is white's next move here? That's it. Rook h5, taking advantage of the fact that black's queen on d6 is unprotected. Black cannot take on h5 due to queen takes d6. But wait a minute. Can black play knight e3 check here? Knight e3 check? Have you seen this? What does white do then? Let's see. After queen takes d6, white would have played rook h5, taking advantage of black's unprotected queen on d6. Rook h5 threatens checkmate on h8. Black's queen cannot go to, well, if it goes to f6 or e5, white checkmates on h7. Pawn takes is not possible due to queen takes d6, but there's a last try, a last shot by black. Black in this position can't play knight e3. Check. And yeah, okay, your move again. How must white reply to knight e3 check? Only move, please find it. That's it. Simply, white simply goes away with the king, and black has no reasonable check left. Okay, he can give one more check, of course. He can go knight f1 check, but then white goes to g1, and now there's no check left. Black must play pawn takes g5, and then his queen falls. Instead, after knight e3, everything else loses for white. So queen takes e3, of course, allows taking on h5, and f takes e3 allows black to play queen to d2, and this queen will pick up the rook on h5. King g1, queen d1, followed by queen takes h5. So sometimes details decide a position. So I don't know if in this position white's pawn were not on h3 but on h2. I think black would be winning. So sometimes it's the details. Yeah, anyway, king h2 would have won the game. I hope you liked it.